Sonic Super Special Issue 8. We start out with a narration telling you about the No Zone, a place 90 degrees from everywhere. So this is when they suddenly introduce the Zone Cops out of nowhere. You know, the ones that didn't stop the evil twins from causing freedom fighters trouble because there was a portal to the cosmic interstate right there for them. Those retconned guys. So what gives the Zone Cops the legal and moral right to police the other zones, and how much do they accept their authority? Anyways, it starts out with Sonic the Zone Cop being told to report in. That's another thing, all the Zone Cops have Z's at the start of their names. You'd think every name would start to sound the same after a while, not to mention make them sound as ridiculous as the Deadly Six. You'd think someone would rebel against our tradition. It is creative though. Sonic is told that there's an emergency zone breach in progress by Dr. Ivana Robotina, an evil sorceress of the Luna Zone, who transported to Mobius Prime and is fighting Sonic the Hedgehog. Robotina. I thought all the counterparts in different dimensions were supposed to have the same last names. I mean, otherwise they would come from different genetic lines and not be the same people, because they'd have different DNA. Well, I don't know. So if they get alerted to zone breaches that easily, presumably through invisible cameras all over the multiverse that don't bump into the ones belonging to Locke or Robotnik, then why weren't they alerted to the millions of times Scourge did a zone breach? Is it that every single time he did that, the Zone Cops happened to all be too busy doing something else? All of them? But yeah, a female sorceress version of Robotnik. That is interesting, although I hate her design because it's so fucking lazy. She still looks like a man! So the gender swap is totally pointless for giving the character a different feel. And not to mention she still has the same black and red cyborg eyes even though she's supposed to contrast Robotnik with being all about magic. What a wasted opportunity. Also, I hope her going to the Prime Dimension, not just staying in her own one, gets explained. It doesn't. Anyways, Sonic says that he'll be ready to actually do his job for once as soon as he zones up some reinforcements. So, someone as powerful as an alternate universe version of Sonic needs reinforcements, or thinks that he needs them, and is careful not to think that. And that reinforcement never shows up, by the way. So many problems at once and we're only on the first page. I am intrigued though. Oh, she also calls herself Queen. So not only is the gender-swapped Robotnik a woman and a sorceress, but she's also calling herself a monarch, while Robotnik didn't give himself any fancy title like king or emperor. Then it turns out that the female Robotnik was from the dimension of Sally Moon, a parody of Sailor Moon in a Sonic comic. I heard that Sailor Moon the character was a helpless ditz, so why is Sally in this role? Shouldn't it be Bunny or something? Shouldn't she be parodying some other character? I won't dismiss this as garbage on sight, because it is an alternate universe after all. They can do pretty much whatever it wants. My biggest complaint is that at first I thought this Robotnik was female because she came from a whole dimension of gender swapping. So I assumed that the Sally of that dimension would be male, and so would her assistant Chibi Rose. Stupid name, by the way. Who would name their kid Chibi? But it is interesting to see that this version of Amy has that different friendship position compared to the one we know. Why? What does she have to offer? Most importantly, why is Sonic in the situation instead of still in the biplane on his way home after using the Ring of Acorns? What, did he need to go to the bathroom, make an emergency landing? Does this whole issue take place after he got home and some whole situation with him just going to the city? Does this whole issue take place after Sonic got home and the whole arc about him getting home was finished? Anyways, the female Robotnik tries to blast at them, saying that they followed her to the Prime Dimension. And then after she thinks she hit them with the laser, a rose gets thrown onto her with her quietly saying, "Ouch." Does it have a thorn and that's why it's sticking to her? Then in the next page, we see the alternate Knuckles looking extremely ridiculously tall. I don't know, maybe Locke thought that would be a good look for him. And as Sonic sees Tuxedo Knuckles for the first time, I wonder why Amy, Sally, and Knuckles aren't really acknowledging Sonic's presence at all. Sonic then gets hilariously panicked at seeing that these versions of Sally and Knuckles are in love, even though he doesn't want this Sally, so why would he care? This makes sense to me because of the whole Sally and Knuckles were apparently childhood friends somehow thing. So it makes sense that they could grow to have this dynamic. Especially since there doesn't seem to be any Sonic around. Maybe he's dead, I don't know. And Knuckles and Sally have a few things in common, both being quick to anger at stuff like criticism, and being brave and gutsy, and being more cautious, much more serious than Sonic, as well as having an independent streak. If anything, they have more in common than Sonic and Sally do. What's with the glasses, though? Maybe the price to pay for having overly long legs that you'd have to struggle not to topple over on is that his vision sucks. At this point, Sonic shows up at last, and magically returns the Outsiders to their zone of origin with an orange spear that he should have used against the evil twins, and you'd think he would have used it against the Freedom Fighters whenever they went to Anti-Mobius, but he didn't. Apparently, there's some sort of strict law against immigrating to another zone, unless it's an interdimensional emergency. Because otherwise, I don't see why he's forcing the other Sally, Amy, and Knuckles to go home against their will, especially since they would have gone home anyways, so what's the big deal? Maybe they're worried that if people are allowed to immigrate to another zone whenever they want, the zones will become too full of people? But, okay, in how many situations does that law apply? I mean, what if there's a really horrible zone that's a really horrible place to live in? You're telling me the people wouldn't be allowed to escape it? That's horrible! He then explains himself to Sonic. He comes from a perpendicular zone, which runs through every parallel dimension. Is that supposed to justify the people of the Node Zone thinking they can police the other zones? Also, is every single inhabitant of the Node Zone a zone cop? I hope I'm just making a silly assumption here, because can you imagine? No farmers there producing food, no electronics makers, nothing. They get everything made for them by another zone, and all of them are forced to be zone cops, trained to be that from childhood, because that's the rule. That sounds like a cult. I mean, I understand the need for zone cops, they're police and all, but so far I've seen nothing but retroactive plot holes in their inclusion. Speaking of retroactive plot holes, they try to fill in them by explaining that Sonic was able to go to the other zones many times because Sonic sent him there. Yeah, that's not a bullshit after the fact explanation. So Sonic pointlessly sent him to the Alan Cal zone twice, just for shits and giggles. He pointlessly let Sonic go meet his evil twin for the first time, even though all that did was give his twin a motivation to start causing more trouble. He pointlessly let Ixis go into the Zone of Silence to make himself way more powerful because he somehow magically knew that would lead to him being imprisoned in it? Are you kidding me? Also, who is that completely black-furred Sonic? Oh, that's Sonic! It took me a while to realize that because he made him the wrong color for no reason. And I was already used to the idea of alternate versions of people there. I can understand Sonic letting him go to the Special Zone and become Super Sonic because he needed to. But why the hell does Sonic make him confront Anti-Sonic when that was totally pointless? In fact, you could blame everything Scourge would do against Sonic on Sonic letting him meet Sonic and become obsessed with proving he's better or becoming the only one. Everything Scourge would do after that point never would have happened if he hadn't met Sonic. Thanks a lot, Sonic. I do love the fact that he was responsible for Sonic being able to enlist the help of his counterparts against Robo Robotnik. That does make sense, and in fact that's when the Zone Cop should have been introduced. Then I see the Detective Sonic Zone, and again, why did Sonic send him there? It was pointless. What did he have to gain from it? He tries to explain this away as precise dimensional travel can't be chalked to dumb luck, especially now that the Ultimate Annihilators weakened the barrier in between zones, meaning that those portals Sonic went through would have sent him to the wrong places if it weren't for Sonic intervening, as well as probably not showing up at all. Sonic then says if I hadn't have gone to those zones, total lack of self-awareness by the writing there because it fails to realize that most of that zone travel was pointless. Nothing bad would have happened without most of it. We just would have missed out on world building of the multiverse. Then Sonic is told that the reason he was the one who was made to do all that zone traveling pointlessly was because he's the Prime Sonic. The one true Sonic of all dimensions. Okay, it's weird to hear a Sonic being perfectly fine with saying that he isn't a true Sonic. And really, true is a very bad way of putting it. It implies that he's the only Sonic worth anything. I like to think that the multiverse basically started out with the Prime Universe, and then, compared to a constantly splitting cell, splitting to create more of itself, with every new cell being very slightly different from the original because of genetic mutations. That's probably why every universe shares counterpart people and geography, but have key differences. Whoever created the Prime Universe just needed to create one universe that then multiplied by itself. So he or she only needed to create one universe. So that's probably why the Prime Universe matters in-universe, and not just the meta reason of it's the one we're shown the most. But I don't see how that makes it the most important one with everyone in it more valuable and privileged. Is the Prime Universe the only one from which other universes can be generated? I doubt it. After Sonic shows a lot of annoyance at how he didn't get the girl when he already has a girlfriend, great Casanova tendency there. We cut to one night in not whole village, although aside from seeing a little bit of the night sky, it looks just like daytime to me. The grass is just as well lit as ever. Also, this is another story. Also, it says everyone is indoors, so I'm guessing the robot colony got made out of it off screen for some reason, and everyone here were Robians. Sonic is sitting next to Amy, genuinely enjoying himself, getting her a warm jacket with super speed while Amy interacts with him like a normal friend. I really miss this. I wish this was always the case, instead of Amy becoming a stalker for the sake of comedy while he hated her. Sonic even likes her enough to start casually reminiscing about a time when super speed almost got him killed. He heard Sally yelling for help, only to find a very lifelike doll of her tied up in a treehouse as Snively was about to spring a trap, getting Sonic electrocuted, but only a little bit singed as a result of it, and he insulted Snively for botching it. Do they have to have Snively's text bubble have death spelled out vertically? It took me several seconds to read what it was saying. At least he succeeded making Snively look menacing. Then Sonic found Rosie in the woods, who was looking for an apple orchard that Sally had said was in the area for making some apple pies. Wouldn't she already know where it is? And after Sonic takes her there, he runs to try to catch a falling apple, only to crash right into a tree because he realized that he couldn't stop, even though he normally has no problem stopping at a time without any broken bones or whiplash or anything. Sonic later notices that he's running faster than normal, but attributes it to his workouts with Tails paying off. I don't see why workouts would make him magically start to increase the speed at which he normally runs. While he was running towards the village, he didn't notice the trail of junk being sucked up behind him, creating a green aura around him. This is an intriguing concept. I wonder if they'll base the whole plot around this. Unfortunately, even though he manages to stop after a while, the trash ends up falling over his friends. Unfortunately, he doesn't proceed to crush them to death. And even more fortunately, Sonic isn't shunned and kicked out by his friends and dropped the hat for this, which I was worried about when Sally called him a danger. Instead, Rotor does some tests on him to measure his speed. Wait, after he overloads and burns the treadmill, Rotor is actually able to salvage his data. So let me get this straight. Rotor can get an accurate measure of his speed, but Uncle Chuck doing the same thing multiple times before it can't? Okay, then it's officially confirmed. Rotor is smarter than Chuck. Then out of complete nowhere, it's revealed that while the ray Snively hit Sonic with has made him faster, it's also aging him with each use of his super speed because it accelerated his metabolism. Huh? I thought the metabolism was just about digesting stuff and getting the energy to your moving body parts. But I guess it's also related to aging. I was expecting the ray to just increase his speed and remove his ability to stop as well without an attempt at a science fiction explanation. But this is more interesting, leading to more plot points, as Sonic walks in now an old man, with apparently only his eyebrows turned gray. Sonic reassures them that Rotor has a way to reverse the effects of the ray if he can look at the machine in Robototropolis. And he can understand if no one wants to go. Antoine then shows his lack of loyalty with his unenthusiastic response. Well, you don't have to go. Why the hell would he of all people be sent there? And logic prevailed because he wasn't sent there. We then cut straight to when all of them were in Robototropolis, instead of seeing their daring breaking in getting past all those robots without Sonic's help. And Rotor finds the machine, but needs to get past the security code using tools to use the ray in reverse. Then after Eggman surrounds Sonic's friends with SWAT bots, Sonic, still not brought back to normal, uses his speed to save the day, even though every fiber of his being was screaming at it and made him exhausted. Sally then wonders how she can get Snively to enter the security code, and then she shows her intelligence by manipulating Snively into using the ray on Sonic to put him out of his misery. Which of course Snively does because he's unaware that the effects of the ray were reversed. And that was the end of the story. I don't see how Sonic's saying that it was his speed that almost killed him when it was clearly the effects of the ray that were the problem. If you meant his speed almost killed him, it logically should have been a story about him rushing into danger without thinking and getting hurt, though that wouldn't have been nearly as interesting. Then we see the township of Lau Kar thousands of miles east of Mobotropolis. There, the Temple of the Golden Lotus had been robbed by ninjas. Also, everyone has really big ears, which look really distractingly stupid compared to the rest of the designs, by the way. Seriously, these characters look like humans, but with mouse ears. Wait, a random civilian is called Fang? That's an awkward name sharing. I wonder if he ended up changing it. He complains that the ninja must have snuck in the back door. And someone else says they'll never catch the ninja if they make it to the woods. By the way, ninjas in real life didn't dress like that because then they draw attention to themselves. They dress just like normal people. So the only reason these guys are dressed like that is probably because their masks try to hide their identities, but they're not covering all their face. As I expected from the village being in Mobius, China, this is a story about Monkey Khan, as he shows up in the Dragon Kingdom heroically standing up to the ninja. I'm really relieved he showed up because I didn't care about any of these people. Unfortunately, the ninja vanishes before he can be satisfyingly defeated, and Fang explains that their powers are strictly sleight of hand. How? By now, the ninjas are probably halfway back to their lair at the haunted lake, and for some reason, Khan arbitrarily is skeptical of the lake being haunted even though he lives in a fantasy universe. The lake is more interestingly explained to be haunted by a dragon, meaning it's not haunted then, it just has a dragon near it. I mean, it's not like it's a ghost dragon or anything. Khan then says he's never met a dragon before. Well, he has never met Dulcie before. Fang decides to come along with Khan because he doesn't want to miss a chance to see him crash and burn. I suppose the only reason he's not immediately showing that he can throw lightning and stuff is because he wants to prove himself by actually accomplishing something with his lowest powers right away. After it's explained that these ninjas have been terrorizing Luonkar for generations, and without the Iron King and Queen doing anything about it, even though you'd think that they would be against criminals in their territory, Fang and Khan get into a fight with some ninjas, and after the ninja leader reveals that there's a Yagyu fortune of the ninjas that I fail to see the use of among criminals who won't pay for anything anyways, the heroes walk right into a trap, falling into a hole. Fortunately, that hole just so happens to store all of the ninjas' stolen goods, including that of the temple. It makes more sense that they were thrown in there so easily when it's revealed that there's a robot dragon here to guard them. An ugly one that looks nothing like a dragon. So they probably threw them in there because they assumed the heroes would all be killed before they could steal it anyways. The ninja leader who's watching says that the dragon has a taste for gold. Wait, then why didn't he eat all of the gold in here? What kind of a bodyguard is that? Anyways, the dragon knows that Khan would be too stubborn to give his crown up. So magical rings are made of gold now? I thought they weren't really made of anything other than magic. Well, I guess it makes sense because they look like they're made of gold. And for some reason, Khan feels like he needs to aim at the tracking device in the robot with his lightning instead of simply hitting it anywhere. This also somehow turns the robot against its own family instead of killing it for being struck by lightning. It's explained that it's doing this because its homing device is shot, but bad aim alone doesn't explain why it's going after people it was programmed not to hurt and no one else. I can understand electricity reprogramming a robot, but is Khan really that proficient in controlling electricity that they can reprogram robots on purpose? I mean, he doesn't even know how programming works? I thought he just threw lightning. Then the next story, we have a story about Sonic, Tails, and Antoine having a pointless camping trip, which I guess serves as good downtime showing how the three of them would normally spend quality time together. But I'm confused. Is this entire issue taking place after Sonic got back to Mobotropolis with Tails and Nate? Because obviously them coming back home is going to be celebrated on screen. But this issue, it's just Sonic being here. Anyways, during a camping trip where Sonic was showing Tails how to find clues, Antoine clumsily tumbles down a hill into a lake. Sonic is nice enough to pull him out of the water while saying that he was supposed to hide so Tails could track him, not give his position away. And Antoine's surprised that neither of them saw a ghost. Then we come to Nightfall, where Sonic's telling Tails a story, and Tails for some reason says, "Thanks for the scary stories, Sonic." Why would anyone say that? Does he get a kick out of scary stories? The next day, Tails says in fear that he thought he saw the headless gopher, and Antoine disappeared. Then we see what looks like the ghost behind Sonic while Sonic's talking about directions, making Tails think that Sonic was brainwashed into working together with him. The ghost has a French accent, but since it's not screaming about being on fire, it can't simply be Antoine on fire to look like a ghost. So obviously this has to just be a bad dream. I mean, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Sonic then tries to reassure Tails by either putting his hand on some brown leaves against the ghost hand and attempt to reassure him, or whatever he's doing, and somehow that satisfies him enough that he goes back to sleep. And we cut back to the next morning where Tails is burying the bonfire, fortunately, and Antoine's muttering about hating camping. He probably got nightmares from the scary stories. Tails asks Sonic to tell him more scary stories, and Sonic promptly confuses me by saying that he shouldn't because things got a little freaky last night. Which one means that wasn't a dream earlier, and two, why would he think his telling scary stories alone caused all that? Then Tails points out that the gold medallion that Sonic was talking about in the ghost story he made up is here, and a ghost shows up just like that. Okay, first of all, that ghost looks nothing like the one we saw earlier. Did he shapeshift for no reason? Second, if ghosts are real in Mobius, why have the villains not been defeated or at least severely inconvenienced on a regular basis by the angry ghosts of the people they caused to get killed? Third, why are ghosts allowed to wander around free instead of being forced to go to the afterlife? And fourth, what did this guy have to gain by messing with them? The story was just confusing and made no sense. I thought it would be about Antoine or Tails having a bad dream because of scary stories, but then it turns out it was real. I was expecting this to be an entire issue about Snively invading Robotropolis, but much to my surprise, it was a collection of multiple different stories completely unrelated to that. Why do they keep putting that off? Is Snively's airship from the Devil's Gulag flying there at the speed of molasses? What's taking him so long? I wasn't impressed with this issue as a whole, but of course anything looks amazing compared to the issue that came right before this. The first story was written by Dan Slott, and introduced the concept of the Zone Cops, which makes sense in theory as interdimensional police, but do nothing but retroactively create plot holes and make no sense at their attempt at filling old ones. Sure, we get an explanation for the zone portals conveniently popping up all the time, but what reason did Sonic have to send Sonic and other people to most of those dimensions? The writing fails to take into account the fact that the majority of Sonic's zone hopping was completely pointless, meaning that having it be explained as Sonic intentionally sending him to places just raised further questions. The Zone Cops in general was a voodoo shark, and one that makes you wonder why the evil twins were allowed to do all their zone hopping since Sonic must have been, according to this, letting them go to Mobius. Either that or they suck at their fucking jobs because we haven't seen any of them until this point. I also have to wonder why people accept the Zone Cops policing zones they don't even live in, and why the No-Zonians don't rebel against arbitrarily having to name their kids with the letter Z at the start sounding silly. And it's not explained if there are any No-Zonians who aren't in the international police business, because if they're all forced to be cops, that sounds like a cult, where they don't have the free will to decide to not... Basically, the Zone Cops have everything wrong with them. That's the biggest problem with the story. The concept it introduces. Not anything this particular plot does wrong. Aside from female Robotnik being beaten way too easily and the whole concept of it being wasted. I won't act like Sally Moon was the absolute worstest thing ever that ruins the comic and is a symbol of Dark Age, because that's really just a nitpick. They shouldn't have referenced Sailor Moon in a Sonic comic. It was out of place, obviously, but it's an alternate universe. They can do whatever they want. That's the whole fun of alternate universes. It's hard to say that anything can be too weird in a comic about a 3-foot-tall talking hedgehog. I'm more annoyed by everyone other than female Robotnik not being gender swapped as well. That was a missed opportunity. The second story is by Roger Brown, and once again, by using the framing device of Sonic telling a story about his past adventures, they're able to get away with making a pretty good story about Sonic fighting Robotnik like in the old days, and with Snively being the main villain at that, so things were actually interesting. I liked the premise. The fact that Sonic got older the more he ran. Although he skipped from barely a teen to an old man with nothing in between, so it was really underdeveloped. It was a pretty creative swerve, since I thought it'd just be about him having a really hard time stopping. And after that, I thought it'd be all about how Sonic drags trash behind him when he runs, thanks to a sort of wind funnel behind him. Even though that logically should happen anyways, because he always runs at a speed fast enough for that should happen. I also liked how Sonic and Amy were actually good friends, getting along, with Sonic willingly spending time with her talking. I miss the days when they had a good, healthy friendship. It's such a stark contrast to now. The third story was by Frank Strom, and I liked seeing Monkey Kong getting to have a moment in the sun again by fighting and defeating a robot dragon.
He's a powerful character, so he should be getting more stories like this, rather than his entire concept being wasted. I'm guessing the only reason he got thrown into the hole so easily instead of beating all the ninjas effortlessly was because he was holding back, since he can't exactly throw lightning at living beings and expect them not to get killed. And the fourth story by J. Oliveras is easily the worst, being a confusing ghost story that makes no sense to me whatsoever and didn't really seem to belong. Next up is issue 68 of the main comic.